Now we're going to do our fine filing work. If you recall when we started, I said to use a coarse rasp and then this fine rasp. And this is a woodworking type file. And this is our finishing file. We're not going to try to take off a lot of stock with this because we're within a ½ inch almost of our goal for our girth. So we just want to smooth everything together and get rid of some of the open self structure that's in the foam with this particular file. This is our finishing file. So we're going to start again the same way we started out before when we started with the rasp. We're going to start on the back side. See, it's fairly fast motions with this. Again, this angle here, you're cutting across. I'm holding against myself for stability. I'm on the top of the fish, the same thing. I'm just going around, making sure that everything is curving as I'm going. I don't want any flats at this point. You get to an area like I did right there, it seemed like it was a little high spot. I just quick went in there and cleaned it up. Moving around to the show side. Okay, now we're at the belly area. And just rounding as I'm going. Now we're at the caudal peduncle region. And again, I'm just rounding it and getting all the facets off of it. And this part of the tail here should be fairly flat, and then it should come to a point right at the end of the caudal peduncle where it enters the tail or caudal fin. So this is the soft dorsal, caudal peduncle, tail fin would be out here. And we're just flattening it right here and then slightly rounding it. Okay, we're going to work on the anal fin now. Same procedure as the soft dorsal. You want to make sure when you're carving you don't get this part here too narrow. You want to keep it about like you see here. That's basically perfect compared to the largemouth bass we're working on. If you need to, you're better to have this being a little bit taller and maybe a little thinner at this profile line here. Okay, now we're just going to accent this area. Again, this is the vent where the belly stops and the anal fin begins. We want to accent that with the curved part of the file. I'm going to go ahead and just put that in there and just file it in a little bit. And just kind of smooth that in. So then I just step back and look at it, and it looks very close to what we want. Just a little tweaking right here at the caudal peduncle region, and just a little right there. We're very, very close now to what we want to get with our girth. See, I need to take a little bit more off the belly right here just to smooth it out. A little bit more off the top of the fish and smooth that out. Okay, now we're ready to take a girth measurement. Our exact girth is 13 3/4. We want to come in at 14 3/4. And right now we are at about 15 1/4. So the final little bit of foam we need to take down, we're going to take down with our fine sanding paper. Now this is drywall sanding paper. You can use this dry or wet. This is excellent for sanding down foam. We're going to treat this the same way we did with our files. Hold it against ourselves and go all the way over the fish, make sure we have no facets and no dips. This is the final sanding now before we complete it. Again, we're going to start at the top profile of the fish right here. Just a fairly fast motion. You don't have to press down hard on the foam. You want to just graze over the top. You get a rhythm and a motion going, and you're going to build up a little bit of heat and a little bit of friction at the same time. That's going to keep you just floating across that foam surface. Very light pressure. I don't want to dig in with the foam in any one spot. One trick you can do with this as well is you can actually break it a little bit. And you can do that before you even start sanding with it. And that takes off some of the sharp edges and makes it just a little bit easier. When you're using a soft styrofoam like this, it's very easy to gouge it. So by doing this little step, it'll save you a lot of headaches. So again, we're going to start at the top. We're just going to keep moving around. The whole purpose of this is to get rid of any facets and the open grain look and just finish smooth it off. Be delicate around the tail. You don't want to take too much stock off of the tail. Just cleaning up right around the vent a little bit. Make sure everything's smoothed in. Now we're going to check the bass over for any facets. And we do that by holding it up in the light and see if there's any dips or facets anywhere. And facets are basically just lines where it's not been smoothed over. I'm not seeing any. It looks like we have it really good. So there we go. Our bass body is now complete. Now we just have to take a couple of quick measurements to see exactly where we're at. The first measurement you need to take is actually an eye measurement, and that's looking at your bass sitting on your table and your form to see if you're close. And we're going to take a look at that right now. We are very close. How we had actually traced this, we traced it slightly tall, so we actually have a very deep looking bass, which is what this particular client wanted. We have all the dips and rises in place. You can do a top profile look. You can see we are very close with that as well. And with this particular profile, you can see we're extremely accurate with that as well. At this point, we can do just a little bit of final tweaking, and there's always a little bit of final tweaking you need to do. One thing we need to look at is this top soft dorsal, how it actually goes up here, the rise. It flattens itself out and then dips up a little bit, and we need to put that into our form. We're using our soft file for that. We're going to use the rounded end, and we're just going to make a little impression right at the front of the soft dorsal on the show side, at the back of the soft dorsal. And then just kind of round that in. And that'll give us that flattened out look that they have right there. We just need to take a couple of quick measurements just to make sure we came in at the right spot. So we take our girth and we are at just right at 15. So we're roughly a 1/4 inch big. That's good. We don't want to take any more down at this point until we actually have the bass skinned and size it. It's very, very easy to take down a 1/4 inch of foam. It's not easy to add foam if you take away too much. So we definitely do not want to take any more foam away at this point. We're going to take a couple of other quick measurements just to double check our work. I'm going to take a height measurement. We're going to be a little bit tall on it, and that was planned. We want a nice deep looking bass. So our height is 6, and if you look up on our board here, 5.5 is the actual height of the bass. So that's a 1/2 inch we could take down if we wanted to, or we could simply leave that and have a nice deep looking fish. It's all going to depend on the fit. We'll take a quick measurement directly in the center. That particular measurement is this measurement right here. And that's 2 3/4. And we are at just a little over 3 inches, so we're perfect on that. We're going to take our height measurement. That is from the throat latch up to the top of the head. See where we are with that. Okay, that is at 5 inches. And if you come over here, we had 4 here. So we have plenty of extra room here. And the reason we did that is because we had the mouth jacked open for the actual tracing process to make sure we have a big mouth on the bass. Again, when we size it, we can very easily bring it in a little bit more here or even a little bit up here if we feel we need to. But that's not something we want to do until we actually have the bass sized. One more quick measurement we'll take is this measurement right here. And this is at the caudal peduncle. You can see we are perfect. Just that it slides into place. So we don't have to do anything there. This area on bass generally does not need to be adjusted as far as the size of the bass once we finish our carving. You can get this pretty much exactly accurate right off the bat. Before we go any further, we do need to talk a little bit about why we keep the form just a little bit bigger to start. After we have the bass skinned, you get something called skin stretch, especially if the bass was spawning. Because we actually sew our skins back around this form, if we would have the exact measurements on our form that we have on our template, the skin would be touching back here. And you would have actually loose skin in the front. We do not want the skin to touch. We want to have at least a 1/2 inch gap running all the way down. And you'll see why when we get to the mounting process. You'll see exactly why it's important to have that. The biggest tip I can give you with this is don't go too small to start. Get your fish skinned, get it fleshed. You can always take a small amount of foam off if you need to. And that concludes the carving portion of the bass video.